So, real quick, before I let you go, friend of the podcast, Glidus, he recently put out a tweet that I thought was super cool and very interesting, and I didn't realize was a thing until he mentioned it. But his tweet here is, Brienne and Jaime interact so much in the last 3 seasons, and not once is it mentioned that they're both Kingslayers. Brienne never takes a moment to share with Jaime that she has that in common with him now. Benioff and Weiss hated Stannis so much. This is something I have seen in the community for many years, that Dave and Dan did not like Stannis. And I wanted your take on this. Do you think that's true?
Huh. I mean, I don't necessarily think there's any... I mean, having been through the series, many times and watched it, I don't get the sense that they don't like Stannis. I think this idea that they don't like Stannis must come from how there's a headcanon that Stannis is this incredible general who's going to win the Battle of Ice, and it's going to be awesome when Stannis pulls this win out of the Battle of Ice. And so I think it's for some reason the fans have already decided that that's going to happen. And when Stannis went out with a whimper instead, somehow people saw that as a slight. No, wait, but it's Stannis, shouldn't he have this incredible stand? He's a military genius, We've been told that he's a military genius. How could he just walk, towards Winterfell and then just get slaughtered by Ramsay's horsemen? It just didn't, it seems so illogical that people think it must be because Dan and Dave just hated him. But it also could just be that Dan and Dave were lazy. And they were trying to just tie up plot lines and get this character out of the way so that Jon could be the new leader in the North, and that was it.
Well, in the show, Stannis doesn't have that many redeeming qualities. He's kind of like, we were just talking about Ahsoka. He's kind of like Ahsoka in the sense where he's stoic and rigid and, like Randley said, a bore. But in the books, it's hard to gauge whether or not, why fans really truly vouch for Stannis. I guess my idea would be that because we see Stannis through Davos's point of view, and Davos is a good guy, and Davos is one of the very few genuine people. Here you have Davos vouching for Stannis as hard as he does, and I guess because we like Davos, we make excuses for Stannis as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, we do see Stannis. So in the books, we see Stannis briefly through Catelyn's eyes, and we see, and he's a very different character than when you see him through. Oh, we also see him through Cressen's eyes, and you see him through Davos's eyes, and then you see him through Jon and Sam's eyes, and then we see him through Asha's eyes, and he's a different character slightly through everybody's different perspectives. Yeah. But he looks much better when you're in Davos's head, so maybe people are just remembering him but I think most people remember him from Jon's chapters, which in A Dance with Dragons, where he does, he does a bit of talking, and he's not supposed to come off great, but I think people still love him. He's sort of like that angry gym teacher that people love, even though he's supposed to be a jerk. It's like Alistair Thorne. You're like, what? Why? Everybody likes him anyway, even though he's a dick.
Well, the fandom has always latched themselves onto these random characters. Sometimes they're super jerks, or sometimes they have 1 or 2 moments of page time, screen time on the page, where they either say something cool one time or they have a cool name, and then that's a fan favorite forever for reasons or another. Like Justin Massey, for example. Justin Massey, someone important in Stannis' army. is a fan favorite that people cosplay. But I agree with the idea that he is that rigid, stoic gym teacher type of character who is the middle of the road, safe option to root for when you're tired of always cheering on the bathroom son that is Jon Snow or the extremely flawed characters like Tyrion and Jaime. Like Stannis is that one boss we've all had where we don't love him, but we don't hate him. He's not terrible. He's fair and predictable, and there's something comforting about that.
And we also seem to like house characters as well, like the people that will just tell everybody off and own them and say the things that we want to say but can't in our real lives. So there's a bit of that, like liking the jerk, and Stannis is a bit of that, so because Stannis has some good zingers every once in a while.
Yeah, thinking on it now, I agree with you. They probably rushed the story to get it out of the way so they can focus more on Jon and Dany and Arya. But even still, though, I think they did what they could based off what information they had from George that we don't know yet about the character going forward in Winds of Winter. Because I can't see Stannis coming out of that Battle of Ice intact. I don't see him ever coming back south ever again. I think his story ultimately ends in the north. How? I don't know, but
right.
Yeah. No, it's interesting how a lot of people do like the character. I love House Baratheon, and Stannis is a big part of that. But when it comes to the show...
Yeah, I mean, I suppose... I know a lot of people that were show only that still said their favorite character was Stannis. I was like, okay, all right, so those people exist. So some people did get it. They did. Just this hard ass who wants to win, who's has a very good argument for him being the true king in succession. So
that makes sense because in this show where everyone's playing the Game of Thrones and doing all the scheming, Stannis is the one guy not doing the scheming. He's right. Under protest, utilizing this witch to his advantage, and he doesn't want to get his hands dirty, but he realizes that's what it has to be. So I can see why people would like him.
He does, and even though he is greedy, he comes off as selfless. Like, I'm just doing this because this is what I got to do. And it's like, well, not really. He's actually a pretty selfish guy. But what you're supposed to read between the lines. But if you don't read between the lines, he's trying to be just, and he's trying to take his birthright and do what's right and all of that. And he just doesn't have time for any of this. He's too old for this shit. That kind of character. So I don't think D&D really hated him. I think they just were lazy and wanted to write off this plot line as cleanly and easily as possible and just be like done with it.
Also, I disagree with anyone that's saying that Stannis had a bad defeat. I think he had a phenomenal last stand. Go back and rewatch the scene where the Boltons are charging at him. He just stands his ground, looks down, takes out his sword, and walks forward. Super badass.
Right. They do make him pretty, like, they could have like humiliated him. They didn't do any of that, And he takes it, and then like when Brienne comes to execute him, he's just like, all right, do what you do.
Yeah, it's a very Stannis death right there.
Yeah,
but I will agree with Glidus. Why didn't Brienne ever bring that up? Like, I get not bringing that up in front of Davos, that makes sense, but never in private to Jaime.
I don't know if it would have come up in natural conversation. Like, I'm not sure if it's anything that Brienne is necessarily proud of. Like, she had a vengeance arc. And then she fucking got her vengeance. But that's not exactly something people brag about.
But did she ever feel bad about it?
No.
No,
she never thinks about it ever again. No, she thinks about it once. And that's because Melisandre and Davos are having a conversation at Castle Black, and then she like inserts herself, and she's like, "Yeah, I killed Stannis. Bye." And then that's it. And you're like, oh, well, and then we're done. That's
It's never a
point.
point of discussion between her and Brienne again. I don't between
Nope.
Brienne and Davos. To my I don't remember them ever discussing it again.
Right. I mean,
So-
this woman, this guy is on the small council, and she is defending the king. And this guy, I mean, fucking Davos, man. Like, the Hand is some dude that killed his son. The woman,
Holy shit.
that's Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, like, killed Stannis. Like, he's just like cracking jokes, like, oh my god.
By the way, like Jaime has brought up
Davos.
being a Kingslayer as a point of a joke, or not. He didn't bring it up, but Tyrion brought it up when Tyrion's in the cell for the murder of Joffrey. Tyrion's like, "Is that what you want? You want to be known as the Kingslayer brothers? Is that what you want for us?" It could definitely be brought up as like a whole thing because Jaime does care about his legacy, and Brienne could have like cheered him up by saying, "You know what? I'm with you on that one. I also killed a king," and they could have used it as a point of flirting, getting to know each other.
She at some point could have said that, like, that I'm a Kingslayer too. Like, like, it should be a point of shame or a point of realization for her about like who Jaime is. But she would. I mean, I don't necessarily think she needed to be having a conversation with Jaime, but it probably should have come up, as a point. But whatever, they I don't know. Brienne's arc didn't exist because Lady Stoneheart didn't exist. So,
are we sure we know where the whole Lady Stoneheart plot is going to go, or do you have any ideas on that?
Oh, I mean, I know what he wants. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he knows what to do with Lady Stoneheart. I don't think he knows what to do with almost everybody else, but I'm pretty sure he knows what to do with Lady Stoneheart.
What, to have Brienne kill Lady Stoneheart and do what Jaime did?
Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah. Like that, Brienne has to liberate herself in the same way that Jaime did. And face that moral crisis. You
think George knew this back in like 2012, 2013? Because remember, they write this stuff ahead of time, years in advance.
I think he knew ladies, like the minute he put a pen to page on the Brienne story, he knew that this was the story. So we're talking like Feast for Crows. Like, I'm thinking that he knew about Lady Stoneheart and what was going to happen with her in 2001,
Okay.
I'm fairly, I mean, this is, my personal belief and, based on my reading of the Brienne story and the purpose of Lady Stoneheart. But, and I know that he tried to convince Dan and Dave that you need to include Lady Stoneheart, and they were like, no. And you're like, okay, well, that's the entire point of her character. Like, okay. Like, imagine if you were like, okay, we're going to redo Star Wars, this journey of Luke Skywalker, but we're going to remove Darth Vader. And you're like, wait, but Luke Skywalker's entire story is about him facing Darth Vader. Yeah, we're gonna remove it. Like, it's like removing Lady Stoneheart and Brienne. Like, you can't have a Brienne story without Lady Stoneheart. Brienne is pointless at that point. But
I would go, she's pointless. Like, who else is gonna run errands for Sansa? Or stand there guard for Sansa.
Right.
Who else is going to
do that? Do you think Jaime would work as a character if he was not the Kingslayer?
No. No, that would not.
Right. At that point, he's just a sister fucker who like tossed Bran out a window.
Yeah.
But like he needs to be the Kingslayer, right? Well, like Brienne needs to go against her oath as well. So. And like,
you convinced me that this motherfucker really didn't start writing this goddamn book until like a couple of years ago. You convinced me on this because, god damn, man, god damn.
Yeah, I mean, there's various plot lines. Well, I mean, I do think he kind of knows like these very, very large strokes, but how do you get people there and stuff? There, yeah,
true.
And
true.
I think we saw a lot of those big strokes in the show, but yeah. So I don't know. Like, how they not have a conversation about being Kingslayers? I guess. I mean, the thing is like, it means two different things, unfortunately. So Jaime killing Aerys was done because was him breaking an oath in order to prove that like oaths are stupid, and like phoning in your morality by latching on a train to somebody else is wrong. Show Brienne proves that oaths are good and that you should latch your morality onto somebody else, and you should just follow through with your oaths because, and that's it. The thing about Brienne is that she does have two conflicting things going on. She says she has to, she gives an oath to Catelyn, but at the same time she says that, like, my oath cannot interfere with my desire for vengeance against Stannis. And in the show they screw this up because they give her this like difficult choice to make. Like, which choice are you going to make? Like, your one to protect your oath to Catelyn to protect Sansa, or to kill somebody with revenge. You've got two equal oaths. Are you going to choose revenge? Or you're going to choose like saving somebody. And then she gets her cake and eats it too. She gets to do both. And it's horrible. It's the dumbest fucking thing.
Yeah.
There's no moral, like, you have to have some sort of moral question, right? Of like, what's important. So, this is this thing about like, in the books, it's Brienne has this choice. She can fulfill her oath she does have this like revenge thing, but then of Stannis, but that takes a back seat because the main question is she's trying to protect Sansa and fulfill her oath, but then she's told by the woman that she's made an oath to, that she's got to kill Jaime. And you're like, oh well, I'm not gonna keep that oath. So there's this, she has to break an oath, And so the problem is Show Brienne never broke any oaths, and that was the problem. Yeah.
You also have to think about with Show Brienne, she kind of stalks Stannis in a sense. Like, I just imagine her like licking her lips, like waiting for Stannis to lose and the perfect opportunity to go corner him and just take him out. Because there's no way she's just walking around waiting for the battle to end and then eventually like tries to find. No, I feel like she had her eyes on him the entire time as the battle was progressing to see if he would survive, and then just biding her time, waiting like Batman in the shadows, just waiting, and just preys on him, just pounces on him the moment he's the moment he can't fight back.
See, that's ridiculous. So the show is really stupid in the sense that, like, in the entire world, Stannis just happens to show up, and then everyone else is slaughtered, but Stannis happens to still have survived and is sitting next to this tree, and she like goes in there and kills him. Like, no one else is doing this. She just moseys in there. What would be, what would be more probable is that she went in there and she has to like kill people and fight people on both sides to get to Stannis just to kill him.
That would have been fucking awesome, and we did not see that. There was not a scratch on her, no blood on her, her hair wasn't messy. I'm telling you, she's like, just waiting.
Whose side
is
she on? She's on nobody's side. She's just trying to get to Stannis. She's killing Bolton. She's killing Queen's men, and then she gets to Stannis, just to kill him. She saves him just to kill him.
I can just imagine Brienne just charging in, cutting down Bolton soldiers, and Stannis' men are like, "What's that? Reinforcements? Oh, thank God you're here!" And she just cuts that guy down too, and just starts just mowing random people down left and right. And the thing is, the actress likes to do like the sword fighting stuff, so it could have been done.
Oh, sure, yeah. Should have, and we would have at least seen some of the battle. We don't get to see any of the battle.
Yeah, no, that your idea here is way better. It's way more fun and way more interesting. I like this way better.
I know. I know. But also, like,
Everyone's
her
getting
abandoning Sansa is a better scene too.
Oh, stop it. Sansa, who could have known that the moment she turns her back, that 1 second, that's when Sansa lights the fucking candle? Who could have known that? No one could have known that.
Just such a remarkable coincidence. It's just such a remarkable coincidence that Stannis just gets, like, comes in there on a silver platter for Brienne at the moment. Has anything ever happened like that in your life? Like that kind of like silver platter moment? Oh, really? I've been like searching the entire world for and man, the gods have just handed me Stannis. I guess it would have been a little out of character for Brienne to be killing randos, though. I suppose she's killed a few randos here and there, but it would have seemed weird for her, like, going.
She could have a berserker moment where she sees Stannis and she sees red and she just fucking goes for it.
That's true. I mean, they did give her some of those. They give her, if you remember, it's in they do the Brienne sword rape scene, where she like kills a guy with a sword. I think the second season when she's escaping with Jaime.
Right. Yeah. They lay with lions. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess they could have given her that. And she kills those people when like chasing her out of the inn at the crossroads when she runs into Sansa.
That's true.
Kills, with the comedy scene of people falling off horses. Podrick falling off horses, comedy. So great. So great.
Okay, that's pretty much it. Preston, you mind if we wrap it up here?
Sounds good, man.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us as always. We'll see you all next time. Have a good one.